The man never imagined that on his very first day as an adventurer he'd run into the one thing he had silently prayed he'd never face, a demon whose presence was so suffocating it felt like an S-class beast lurking deep within an ancient mountain. Normally, he'd steer clear of such overwhelming threats, but this time, trapped inside a sealed barrier, escape wasn't an option. He had no choice but to fight. He didn't think he had any chance of winning. What he failed to realize was that his 20 years of relentless training had quietly propelled him into the ranks of the strongest human mages alive. The demon, who had come to carry out a covert plan, had no idea that a walking catastrophe just so happened to stumble into the scene. At first, the demon thought it would be an easy kill, but no matter how many spells he hurled, the man emerged unscathed. Only then did the demon notice the cloak the man wore, an ancient artifact left behind by the Fairy King, one that rendered magical attacks nearly useless. Though unsure how a random adventurer came to possess such a relic, the demon's fighting spirit didn't waver. As a demon, he was a master of close combat, only to realize too late that this was the man's specialty. Trained personally by the Fairy King, the man could more than hold his own in a brawl. Now that he understood the demon wasn't invincible, the man launched a counterattack. But the demon's movement was erratic, almost impossible to follow. Boosted by wind magic, he darted across the battlefield like a phantom. Spells proved useless for both sides. The battle eventually boiled down to hand-to-hand combat once more. But this time, the man wasn't anxious. In fact, he found clarity. This demon, for all his power, was nothing compared to his former master. Meanwhile, the demon was growing more and more intrigued. Who was this man? Even the sword he wielded looked like the legendary blade from the old myths. But what truly rattled the demon was the man's casting speed. He would start to charge a spell, only to be interrupted again and again by the man's instantaneous counterspells.